Okay. All right, you're all in my seat. All right, so the first one, I need to solve this. Solve this by subtracting 8 from both sides to get rid of the positive 8. So I am left with x is equal to 15 take away 8, which is 7. So 7 for the first one. Get marking this as we go. Okay, for the next one, I need to get rid of this taking away 2 and multiplying by 4. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides to get rid of this subtraction of 2. 4x is here then. 18 plus 2 is 20. Divide by 4 both sides gives us 5. All right. Can we please, we're going to ask for some answers now. Can we all type our answers for question 2A, please, into the chat? So question 2A, the fully simplify of this. Great. Okay, not everybody's typing their answers, but okay, we will combine 2x take away x as 2x is take away 1x is just going to be x, plus then 5y add 12y to it, and I'm on 17y. So I think everybody that typed it in got it right. It doesn't matter the order of that, you can put that the other way around, is fine. The second one I'll do, 8y plus 7y are like terms, so there's 15y's. Now 2xy is different to 2x. They're different. So I cannot combine them. So it's just 2xy plus 2x. So only these two can be combined. Yeah, so a few got it. Okay, so in question 3, I'll do part A and B. Can we type in the chat the answer, the formula? Can you type in the chat your answers to the formula? Let's see if anyone get it right. Okay, so I'm going to fill in the table now. Let's count the matchsticks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 in the first pattern. And then I counted 11 in the second. And then 1, 2, 3, 16 in the third. Okay. So when I'm looking at the rule, I look at this bottom line. I'm just looking at this bottom line. So Zafia, watch up. So on the bottom line here, what's the increase? So it's plus 5. They're all adding 5. Okay, so plus 5 is the rule, or add 5 is the rule. So remember what we said the last time. You have to say what operation it is.
Don't you know?
What's that, Asher? No. Okay. So now that's the rule. The rule links the outputs. The formula links these two. If we had this, we need to get that. What's the formula for the pattern? Well, if we should have the system at this stage. If we're adding 5, that means we're multiplying by 5 in the formula. So it's going to be 5 times x, or what we say is 5x. So 5 times x, then how far away are we? Well, each time, 1 times 5 is 5, 2 times 5 is 10, 3 times 5 is 15. We're always 1 away, so we need to add that 1. So 5x plus 1. Now that entire question is worth 6 marks. So 2 marks for each part. So you should be at least getting 4 out of 6 there. Just counting matchsticks and then saying how many you're adding to each shape. Okay. Yeah, I'll take your answers to 4A and 4B, if you would, please. 4A and 4B in the chat. Asia, I haven't seen any of your answers yet. Cohen, haven't seen your answers yet. Amy, Oliver, Derek.
Mr. Collins?
Peter, answers, please. Yes,
Mr.
Kalim.
Collins?
Yes, Kalim.
I did my practice test on a piece of paper, but I can't find it.
Oh, do you want me to come look for it?
No.
Okay.
So that's why I'm not putting in the answers.
Okay, Millie.
Yeah, same here. I actually had it on a piece of paper because my book was full now. So.
Oh, these pieces of paper up there with dog eating it. All right. Well, we get on. So a number of people have this first one right. Oh, my battery's low. That's not good. That's not good. Well, let's move on. So y is 7 plus 2 times x times y. So 3 and 7 plus x is 3. So you can put it in brackets, but if it's just on its own, you don't need to. I put in brackets here so we do not write 237. Put these in brackets to show that they need to be multiplied. And you must do it first because it is order of operations. 2 times 3 is 6 times 7 is 42, and then we just need to add the ones on the outside. So do this bit first. You can get 52 when you do that. This second one then, 4 times 3 plus 2 times 7 plus the 5. Okay, so 12 plus 14 plus 5, I think is 31, isn't it? Next question, I'll do this one. So common to both these, well, number that divides into both is 5, 15 and 5. If there's a letter there, there is a letter, x is in both. What's left behind? Well, you're dividing both these then by 5x when you're factorizing. So 5x fits into 5x, well, that's just once. And 5 fits into that 3y times. All right, maybe we get the answer for part B now. So some of you give, I just want part B answer, not part A. So part B answer in the chat. I'll start doing it here. So remember, highest common factor between 6 and 8 is 8. Then is there A in common? There is, and I think there's a B in common. Yeah, there is a B in common as well. All right, what's left behind then? Well, if you're dividing both of them by 8AB, well, that means we're left with 2 here, because 8 divided by 16 goes twice, and there's an A left behind, A squared, and 1. Okay, so well done. I think everybody who typed it in the chat got it correct. Very good. So remember, you can always check your answer. If you want to re-multiply it out or re-expand it, you can. So multiply the number here. 8 times 2 is 16. Multiply A times A gives me my A squared. And there's this B. And then multiply 8AB by 1, and that's, it's just itself, of course. And that's what we got at the start. So remember, expanding is the opposite operation to factorizing. All right, so I'll do the first one. If you guys type your answer for the second one in the chat, that'd be great. All right, so expand this time. So this is multiplying. 2 times x and 2 times negative 3. 2x is 2 times x. Minus 2 times 3 is 6. And we have a plus 5x here at the end, which is unaffected by that too. All right, so we've expanded. That's done. Now we're going to simplify next. So that's adding or subtracting any like terms. Remember, expanding, think multiplying. Simplifying, think adding or subtracting. There's 2 x's here and there's 5 here, so there's 7 x's in total. And take away 6, and that's our final answer. Can't do any more than that. All right, so a lot of people think it's 12a minus b from the chat for the second question. This is a little bit more difficult, but the same procedure. Expand first, then simplify. Okay, so 3 times 2a and 3 times b. Remember that 3 outside means multiply. Expand means multiply. Brackets are multiplication. 3 times 2a is 6a. 3 times negative b is negative 3b. So 3 times b and still negative. Plus 2 times 3a is 6a, and plus 2 times plus b. Well, that's plus, and 2 times b is just 2b. All right. Let's see if we can add any like terms. Remember, simplifying, we add or subtract. 6a plus 6a will give 12a. Negative 3b plus 2b. If I start at negative 3 and I want to go to plus 2, you can draw a number line if you want. Start at negative 3 and I want to add 2. Well, I go this way, don't I? So I'll end up here at negative 1. So it's negative 1b. You can write negative 1b or just negative b is fine. If there's one of them, you don't need to put the number in front. Okay, so most people got that from what I can see in the chat. Okay, so that's question 6. That's worth 4 marks. All right, let's move on to question 7. Is there a question?
No, I can't hear.
I got a question for.
Yes, Brianna.
What if you don't get the answer right, but you got the workings correct? Do you get 1 mark if you
you
get the
would.
workings
There's,
correct?
for all questions, besides the very last question in the exam, there's a 10
Like
marks.
number 4.
So
for
for number
A.
4, yeah, if you showed that you substituted incorrectly, that'd be 1 mark, and then if you worked out the operation, that'd be the 2nd mark. Yeah.
Okay, so if I got the workings correct, but I just miswrote something.
An error, yeah, a slip up or an error will just be 1 mark off. Yeah.
Okay.
You won't get 0, and that's the same for every question.
Okay. Thank
Remember,
you.
I said it's the methods that are more important than the adding and subtracting. It's
All
the
right.
methods. The methods matter more.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so let's look at question 7. So remember, this is 3 marks, and there was a mark going for saying which was which here. Remember, shape, number, I'm going to call X, and matchsticks, I'm going to call Y. Now you can use S and M or whatever you want to use. You'll get the same answer in the formula, just use different variables. Okay, so in order to form the formula, I need to look at the pattern here for the rule. What's my addition each time? Well, it's adding 3. Okay, so adding 3 means my formula is going to contain 3 times the X number. But if I multiply 3 by 2, I get 6, not 7. 3 times 3 is 9, not 10. 3 times 4 is 12, not 13. So I need an extra 1 match. Okay. You could also think about what's the 0 term. What's the one before it starts adding the 3's. So if you go back 3, you would also get 1. So there's 2 ways you can do that. Okay. So that's our formula. No matter whichever letter, it's not my. No, I don't think you can always test it, Sophia. So just test it for if you call this X. 5 times 3 is 15, and I want 16 as my output. So if I minus 1, I'm going to get 14, not 16. So I need to get 16. So remember, the formula relates these two, and the rule relates the bottom line here of outputs. So the formula gets you from an input to an output. Okay? All right, so there's 3 answers for question 8. If you can type your 3 answers in the chat, that'd be great. So have a little look. I see some answers coming in there. Lauren, I don't see yours. Asya. All right, so I'm going to start to work these out. If there's brackets in a question, you've always 2 options. You can divide both sides first, just get rid of the 2 times here, or you can just expand the brackets. I'm going to expand the brackets. 2 times 2x is 4x, and 2 times 3 is -6, and that equals 11. Okay, now I can start to solve. So add 6 to both sides. 4x is equal to 11 plus 6, which is 17. Okay, nearly there. Divide both sides by 4. X is 17 over 4, so 17 over 4 could be your answer, or you can turn it to a decimal. I think it's 4.25. Either answer is totally acceptable. All right. Second part then. Well, it's not the whole side divided by 5, it's just the X term divided by 5. So I would recommend removing the 3 here first. as our option. So to add 3 to both sides. Now I could multiply by 5, but I would have to multiply all terms by 5, which means this would turn to 15. But I think adding 3 is the easier one. X divided by 5 then is 6 plus 3, which is 9. All right, so dividing by 5, the opposite operation would be to multiply both sides by 5. Okay, 5 fits into 5 once, so we're left with 1x, and 9 times 5 is 45. So a lot of people got that right, I see. Well done. See, minus 1 or 1 is an answer for the last one. Let's see which is correct. All right, so I've got a negative 7 here. I'm going to add 7 to get rid of that from the right-hand side. So 7. They're gone here. Minus 6 plus 7 is a positive 1, and that equals negative x. And there's two ways of looking at this to finish. If you just want to think about it logically, if negative x equals positive 1, what does positive x equal? It equals negative 1. It's the opposite. Or what you could do is multiply both sides by minus 1, and that'll get rid of this minus x. But either way, you get minus 1 as your final answer. Of course, you can always test that here, because minus 1 gives plus 1, and plus 1 take away 7 gives negative 6. You can always test your answer, and especially if you have time at the end of the exam and solving equations, you can test your answer by putting them into the equation at the start as your answer, substituting in, and then seeing, does it work? Does it work? Does left-hand side equal right-hand side? All right. Answers for part 9. So just part B. I'll do part 1. Part A, you guys put in your answers for part B. While you do that, I'm going to do part A. So 3 times 3 plus 5 times 5 squared. 3 times 3 is 9. Now, 5 squared is 25. Do it first, bed maths. You'll get the same answer, but good practice. 5 squared is 25 times 5 is 125. Add those two together and you get 134 for that one. Okay, I see 13 is a common answer for part B. Let's see if you're right. X squared is 3 squared plus 2 times 5, take away 3. All right. You could probably do this all. Oh, okay, thanks, Sophia. You could probably do this all at once, but let's just do the brackets first, because that's what we should do. 5 minus 3 is 2. So I'm going to put in an extra line of working out. You don't need to have this in. 3 squared is 3 times itself. So 3 times 3, which is 9. And 9 plus, well, that's 4, isn't it? So that's 13. So perhaps you didn't do that many lines of working out, but you could have. Okay. So I think up to 9 was the minimum amount you should have done. So hopefully you've all had up to 9 completed. Let's look at these more challenging questions on the back. Last page. Okay, so if you can type your answers for part B, I see some of you are doing it as well. Okay, I'll get going now. Okie doke. Let's see, something needs to divide into all these 3. So I think of a number first. 3 divides into all 3 of them, I think. Okay. So remember, factorizing, you're thinking dividing. So there should be no multiplication done at all. Any letters in common to, okay, X is in common to all 3. I think that's it. I think that the Y is only common to the last 2. There's no Y there. All right, so let's see. Divide each of these then by 3x. 3 into 3 goes once. X into x squared leaves me with an x. 3 into 18 goes 6 times. X's go away and y squared is there. still, and 3 into 3 goes 3 times. X's go into each other once, and there's a y left over, and that is your answer. So a good few people got that. I know you can't type squared in the chat, but some of you are improvising. Oh, that makes way more sense, Oliver, rather than 1,292x, a bracket symbol. All right, so what's common to both these? I think the highest common number that divides into both of them is 12. There is no number or letter in common. This is x, this doesn't, so we go with this. 12 into 24 goes 2 times, and there's still an x there. 12 into 12 goes once. Okay. All right, so this is our first of our very difficult solving problems. Okay, so multiplying in by this -3 and multiplying in by this +4. Yes, type your answer in the chat for this, please. So some of you didn't do it, of course, because this was beyond the minimum homework. This is blue level, but it's okay. Just watch and see what happens. So 4 is still 4. -3 times x is -3x. -3 times -5, well, that's plus 15. -3 times -5. Remember, if you're multiplying, you must multiply by the sign as well in front. 4 times 3x is 12x. 4 times 8 is 32. There's a minus there still. And there's still a -5 at the end. Okay. Next step. Well, I've expanded. Always after expanding, check, can you simplify before you solve? So I'm going to simplify now, because I can add 4 and 15 on this side to give 19. And on this side, I can subtract -32 and take away another 5 to give -37. Now I've simplified it. Now I start to solve. All right, so if I'm solving and there's x's on both sides, I get rid of the smaller x. So I add 3x to both sides. Because -3x, the opposite, is going to be adding 3x to get rid of it. That's gone. All of it's gone. 19 comes down here. We have 12 plus 3 is 15x, and -37 is still here. All right. Add 37 to get rid of the 37. Now I'm looking at this side of the equals because the x is there. I'm going to run out of space here. So 19 plus 37, I'm just going to write it up here. 19 plus 37 is 56. And that equals 15x. And 15 times x, well, divide by 15. 15 into 15 goes once, so we're left with x. And 56 over 15, you can leave it as that, that's fine. It's not a fractions exam. Or you can change, 15 fits into that. Well, I think 3 15s is 45, so you get 3. And 11 15s, if you want to change it, you don't have to. This is a perfectly acceptable answer for this exam. All right, so that's, or you can change it to decimal if you want to use your calculator. Yeah, you would still get, if it's only one little slip up, you'll get 2 marks out of 3. So only one little slip up, you get 2 marks out of 3. So just follow the steps. And if you make a little slip, that's fine. Follow the method. And then if you have time at the end of the exam, always go back and check to see, especially for the more difficult questions, just check, did you make any slip? But you only lose 1 mark for a little slip. All right, so question 12. Hopefully some of you did question 12. Type your answer for the chat if you did. All right. So I'm going to replace x and z. There is no y's. So I'm going to replace x and z with their -3 and 2. So I'll do it here. X is -3. Z is 2. Okay, that's xz. Minus 2 times, well, x squared is here, so I'm going to go -3 squared. All divided by 2 times x, which is 2 times -3 now. And then plus -3. Whoa, a lot of negatives again in this. take each little multiplication bit step by step. So I'm going to do this bit first. 3 times 2 is 6, minus 3 times 2 is minus 6. Okay, minus. Now let's work out this little bit. Minus 3 squared is minus 3 times minus 3, so that's positive 9. Positive 9 times 2 is 18. All divided by 2 times minus 3, well 2 times 3 is 6, and 2 times minus 3 is minus 6. Plus minus 3 is minus 3. Okay. Let's work out the top bit. Minus 6 take away 18. I think that's minus 24. Just once again, I'm going to put I'll draw a column here and then continue my working up here. So it's minus 24 divided by minus 6, and that doesn't equal anything. Minus 3 from that. Okay, now I have come to a stage where I need to do this division. Negative 6 into negative 24, well, that's going to go positive anyway, because negative, negative. So 6 into 24 goes 4 times, and then take away that 3 finally. So notice you're going to get a question similar to this in the exam. Notice do all this bit first before you subtract the thing at the end. Subtraction and addition should come last. This is part of the multiplication and division. If you think about it, this is divided by 6, so we need to figure out what it is first. 4 take away 3 then, 1. So I see a few people, Tao and Julie, got that nicely done. All right, last question. So the last question is the only one there's no attempt marks for, because each one is only worth 1 mark. So I can't give it an attempt mark. If we did it, do we get a mark? Because a lot of people don't do it. No, Lucas, no. If you got it right, you will, yeah. This is the only question we'll have. Every other question will have attempt marks, so you should attempt them and try and do the first step at least. If you get the first step correct in these, then that'll be an attempt mark. Now this one is a trick question. Not a trick question, it's a different answer. This last one was a mistake. This was meant to read +2, but I didn't catch it in time. But let's look at this. Okay, so multiplying both sides by 3, you will get rid of that dividing by 3. 3 and 3 goes once. So we got 3x minus 5 is equal to 3x plus 3 times 2 is 6. Here's an interesting thing. Well, let's try and follow my my method. If I subtract 3x from either side, because they're both worth the same, that disappears and this disappears. What we're left with is minus 5 equals positive 6. But minus 5 does not equal positive 6. It can't. On no planet does that happen. No, you cannot solve it. There is no solution. You would write there's no solution. So this is possibly the first one you've ever come across where there is no solution to this.
Excuse me.
Yes, Franny?
So if we got no solution as our answer, but if we got something different and minus 5 equals 6, do we still get the mark?
If you just wrote no solution, I would have given you the mark. Yeah, you may have done different working out there.
Thanks.
Okay, so sometimes there's no solutions. And that happens when, this is kind of like later or next year we're going to be looking at these things. And these are actually, you can draw these as lines. So they're a set of points. And these are 2 lines that would never cross. But you don't need to know that at the moment. But next year we look at that when we do coordinate geometry. And we link algebra into it. But there's no solution to this, which is kind of cool. So sometimes there just isn't an answer. There isn't an answer to an algebraic equation. Yeah, they're parallel lines. Exactly, Derek. Yeah. Okay. All right. So this one, there is a solution to this second one. 2 times 3x and 2 times negative 3 is 6x minus 6. All right. This is subtracting both x and 1, minus 1. So that's going to be negative x and minus 1, which is plus 1. So that minus affects both things. Right, simplify first. 6x, take away an x, leaves me with 5x. Minus 6 plus 1 leaves me with minus 5. Okay, now I can solve from here. So remember, when you have expanded, always check, can you simplify before you solve. Don't jump into solving too early. Add 5 to both sides. You get 5x is equal to 16. And then divide both sides by 5. I'll put my answer down here. X is equal to 16 over 5, and that is us. 5 1/3. Pauline and Julie got it. Lucas and Asher, I'd say you both have a -1 here. Be careful. If there's a minus outside a bracket, it means you're subtracting both things in the brackets. And if you subtract -1, it's -1. So that's a positive. So remember that. Okay, so this one was a typo. This is supposed to read plus 2x. So you're not going to get a solution for this one either. But I'll show you how to do it anyway. Get to a stage where you can say there's no solution. -4 times x over 2. Well, let's take a little aside for a second here. What's 4 times a half? And that's what you should be thinking. So 4 halves. 4 half of a pizza would be 2 whole pizzas, wouldn't it? Or you could do your operation. 4 times 1 is 4. 1 times 2 is 2. And 4 divided by 2 is 2. So 4 halves is 2. Now, the same thing applies here. 4 half of x's would be 2x. So in this case, it's negative, but it's the same thing applies. It's negative 2x for the same reason as down below. Yeah, you would get the mark if you wrote no solution. Yeah. But as I said, it was a typo. I didn't mean to put 2 no solutions. I only meant to put 1. -4 times plus 2 gives -8. And then I 5 minus 2x. So the same thing's happened here. You've minus 2x here and minus 2x there, which means these are also parallel lines, or there'd be no solution. But so you'd add 2x just to show that it's a ridiculous answer. Add 2x to both sides. They cancel. -8 does not equal -5, so there's no solution. But as I said, that was a typo. There may be one in the final exam that has no solution, but there won't be any more than one. And it will only come up in question 13. So question 13, remember, is those challenge type questions. And there could be a little trickiness. Let's see how you deal with it. Just follow the process through and it'll be fine. So remember that. Okay.